Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live with me, Chase Lee, and my co-host,
Brian Sudfield.
That's fucking right. And hey, listen, if you're new to this show, and if you've been following along, this is a show where we take a look at the movies or whatever coming out on Friday, and then we will create a top 5 list of the actors that are in a certain movie that weekend, or director, genre, what have you. And the cool thing about this show is that it is live, so we have no idea what's going to happen, and we don't know each other's lists. So that's the cool part. So before we begin, Brian, there's a lag on your end. That's why it's doing it.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, there's a lag on Brian's end, so like I can hear myself through his computer. So I now realizing that I sound like a 12-year-old in middle school. So yeah, Brian, would you like to introduce this week's episode?
Top 5 Leonardo DiCaprio films and on The Revenant.
Yeah, this is gonna be a tough one. Leo's the type of actor where he's worked with everyone. So let's think about this. He's worked with Danny Boyle, James Cameron, Quentin Tarantino, Martin Scorsese. Any other big ones I'm missing?
Steven Spielberg. Sam Mendes. Revolutionary Road.
Oh yeah.
Baz Luhrmann. Yeah, he's worked with everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, Clint Eastwood.
Oh yeah, that's right. Shit, I forgot he was in that. Oh, and by the way, the lag's gone. your mic fizzled out, and then it just like gave up, and then just killed itself, and now I can hear myself just fine. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, we're doing Leonardo DiCaprio films, like I said, guys, and before we or actually, I'm sorry. We're going to do our top 5 list, so we're going to go from 5 to 1, and then afterwards we'll do our honorable mentions, and after that we'll do our dishonorable mentions, and then we'll wrap this thing up. So, Leonardo DiCaprio. Before we begin, Brian, would you say that Leonardo DiCaprio is definitely one of the best working today?
Yes.
That's all you got to say?
And he's my favorite actor working today.
Yeah, Leo's the type of guy to where, yeah, we joke about him not getting the Oscar all the time, but it's true. Like, every single movie, he gives 110%, and he goes the distance. I mean, look at his new movie out right now, The Revenant. It's crazy the dedication that he went through for that movie. And when you watch it on screen, watch it on the big screen, you'll just be in awe. Your jaw will be dropping because you'll just be like, wow, you did that. That's fucking crazy. So, yeah, he's a very versatile actor. He's done everything from comedy, lighthearted comedies, romances, horror films, psychological films, biography epics, like The Wolf of Wall Street or whatever. So he's done a little bit of everything. And a little trivia, Brian, what was his first feature film?
Critters 3.
That's right, Critters 3. I remember,
right.
I was in college and someone posted a picture online. There's like Leo's first movie, and it was like a Critters 4-pack from Walmart, and in the top right corner it had Critters 3, and Leo's head was like popping out on the poster, and it says Leonardo DiCaprio's first film. So you can tell they were trying to advertise that to try to sell more copies. I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, Leo he's been on a roll. He does a movie at least once a year, right? Like if I'm counting correctly, he does one at least a year on average, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's kind of sad that the one for 2016 is The Revenant, because The Revenant is out now, so we have no more Leo movies for the rest of the year. Probably until next year, which I'm super excited for. Before we get to our list, he's working with Scorsese again on what is it, the White Devil movie or something like that? Do you remember the title for
Something
it?
like that.
Where he plays like the first ever like recorded serial killer in
Yeah.
history, which is that's fast. Like imagine American Psycho Scorsese style. That's what we're gonna get with Leonardo DiCaprio, and I cannot wait. So this guy's on fire. He always is dedicated to every single project he does, and so this list was super hard for Brian. Is that correct, Brian?
Yes.
Brian,
Like, I knew what films were going to be on my list. I just didn't know where they were going to be, except for my number one.
see, like I know Brian's number one, and I don't think he knows my number. Do you know my number one?
I don't think I do.
I think you do. You forgot that
I might once we get to the list.
Yeah. No, because I've been praising my number one for numerous times in front of Brian. But yeah, so without further ado, guys, let's get started. It is the top 5 films of Leonardo DiCaprio. Brian Sudfield, you're up first. What is your number 5 pick for your favorite Leonardo DiCaprio film of all time?
Oh boy. My number 5 is Django Unchained.
Okay.
My favorite Quentin Tarantino film, as we brought up last week. Now, like I said last week, his performance as Calvin Candy is truly spectacular. He never really played a villain before, so this was something so different for him, and he nailed it beautifully. I mean, first of all, what a great mustache he has. There he is right there. Look at that great facial hair. Look at that. That beautiful, like, how old was he? Like 5 when he made this or something? And then all of a sudden he grew this huge facial hair to make him look like he's 46.
It's a very beautiful goatee.
Excellent. Second beautiful goatee behind Walter White. But like I said last week, his introduction was great. His character was so slimy and dirty, but yet you loved his character. You couldn't get enough of Calvin Candy, and Leonardo DiCaprio brought this perfectly. I mean, like I said last week, when it was announced that he was doing a Quentin Tarantino film, I'm sure everybody was pumped. They're like, one of the best actors of our generation is going to be working with one of the greatest directors of all time. So that's something awesome, and I would love to see DiCaprio play a villain again. Yes, like you said with the whole Martin Scorsese thing, and he's doing the Cartel movie with Ridley Scott supposedly, and he's going to be doing some like hostage movie with Clint Eastwood. So he's doing a lot. He's got a lot of stuff like storming around and stuff. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, Django Unchained, incredible. My number 5, still my number 1 Tarantino film, but Django Unchained. See it just for his performance as the villain. I mean, listen, you can watch the entire movie and still enjoy it, but once DiCaprio comes in, you're just like, yes. And then when he leaves, you're like, oh, no, I want to see more of you. But every scene he was in on screen, he stole every single scene. It was that perfect. Django Unchained, my number 5.
And I'm going to pass on it. Oh, man. I guess it's on my list somewhere. But no, Django's a very good pick. And you know for a fact, when Django is number 5, we're getting into a really good list, folks. And second of all, ever since Brian showed it like a while back, I've always been jealous that he has the Steelbook of Django. I have the regular Blu-ray. I like it just fine in my collection, but that Steelbook is awesome. So, yeah, Django's a good pick. Now, the way I did my list, and this is the way I did it, and if I say it like this, maybe it'll get away, but I don't think it will because this could be anything. So, the way I did it, starting at number 5 and interchanging as you go up, I go great performance, entertaining, fun performance. Great performance, entertaining, fun performance, great performance. So that's how I kind of did my list because just like Django Unchained, like it's a very fun role and everything. So versus like, you know, like an Aviator or something to where like it's really like a little bit more dramatic and a little bit more heartfelt and stuff. So he's got 2 different sides to his career. So I decided to honor a little bit of both, and I kind of alternated. So my number 5 is a great performance. So another game that Brian and I have on the table right now is how many Scorsese films are going to be on our list? Number 5 is a Scorsese film. Brian put Django Unchained as his number 5. That's already crazy. My number 5, Brian, would you like to say it in your native accent?
Oh, shit. Shit. It's The Departed.
That's not your native accent.
My native accent? The Departed.
There you go. The Departed. That is my number 5. listen,
fucking firefighters.
Goodfellas is one of my favorite mob movies of all time. So, The Departed is clearly up there for me. It was entertaining from start to finish. I love the chemistry between Leo and Jack Nicholson. I smell a fucking rat. I love it. I love the fact that Leo was basically sweating bullets throughout the entire movie, and Jack Nicholson was like, pointing him out like, you're a fucking rat, and he's just like, I'm not a fucking rat, and like it's crazy insanity, and
he slams his hand.
Yeah, he slaps his
hand. The hand slam scene again gives him money for it. He's like, oh, tell me, who are you? Oh, I'm sorry. Here's like $100. Go get your hand cleaned up.
Oh, it's so great. It's just a really great crime movie, and it's got one of the most surprising Leonardo DiCaprio scenes of any of his characters he's ever done in the film. And Brian knows what I'm talking about. But if I say anything, I don't want to spoil it, because if you haven't seen it, it's surprising as all hell. Because when I watched it for the first time in theaters, when it happened, I was like, wow, they just did that, ladies and gentlemen. So it's a very good performance. He's very intense, and he plays a very good informant and stuff. And it conflicts with his character, and he doesn't know what to do because Jack Nicholson's very kind to him, but he has to complete his job. It's very conflicting and stuff, and everyone's just double-crossing each other. It's a great, fun time. So The Departed is my number 5 favorite Leonardo DiCaprio film of all time. So this list is already getting fucking juicy as shit. It's white meat chicken right now, ladies and gentlemen. It is so juicy. It is tender, because this list is just going to get better and better. So, Brian, with that being said, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Titanic.
Hey, listen, I like Titanic. I'm not going to argue against that. I'm just surprised you put it on your list.
She's hot.
Yes,
what else
Brian.
am I supposed to say? She's hot.
Yes, Brian, but this is a Leonardo DiCaprio.
Great, listen. People give this movie a lot of shit because it has a romance in it. It has 2 good-looking people in it.
That's true.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I understand where people might say, oh, the romance is cheesy. Is it cheesy? Of course it is. But once the ship hits the iceberg, it becomes a disaster movie that's just enthralling and intense. Obviously, you know that certain people are going to die. I'm not going to say who dies in the end of the movie, but I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people have already seen. The movie's almost 20 years old. Came out it's 19 years old. So, I mean, it's been out for a long time, guys. But what I love about it, first of all, I love the visuals. As usual, James Cameron did a great job with the visuals. The film won 11 Oscars, which is the most a film has ever won. Previously, that record was held by Ben-Hur with the same amount of awards. And then a few years later, Return of the King won all 11 Oscars it was nominated for. And also, this is the 4-disc Blu-ray, which is very cool. Well, I just love, I love DiCaprio as Jack. I'm the king of the world. He's so optimistic that you just want to be this guy. And then when he finds the beautiful Ginger Rose, it just, the relationship, they fall in love after 2 days. But honestly, once the ship hits, you just don't know what's going to happen to either one of them. You think something good's going to happen? You don't know. I remember watching this movie for the first time. I remember seeing it when it was released in IMAX 3D. So good. It was so beautiful in IMAX. My God, what an experience. But Titanic, I think it's a great film. I understand where someone might not like it if someone's honest. I hate when someone's like, oh, it's just a girl movie. It's not a girl movie. It just because there's a romance in it does not automatically mean that it's a movie just for girls. I hate when people say that, and I don't like that people hate on the movie just because, it's the second highest grossing film ever. It won a lot of awards.
Oh, whoa. Actually, it's the 3rd highest grossing movie now. So there you go.
Did Star Wars already surpass it?
Yes, it did. And it is number 1 domestically. So there you go.
No, not domestically. I'm talking about worldwide.
Oh, worldwide. Yes, it's still number 2.
Okay. But Titanic, I think it's great. It's, I think, my 3rd favorite Cameron film after the Terminator films. And I think it's great. Titanic, a visual masterpiece. If you haven't watched it, do yourself a favor, check it out. If you don't end up liking it, then you don't like it. But don't just say that it's a girl film because it has a romance. That's not fair. That's a cocky statement. Titanic, my number 4. Great film. I'm the king of the world.
Yeah, no, I really like Titanic, and it's not on my list, so I'll go ahead and talk about it briefly. Listen, I saw this movie when I was a kid, and I was blown away. I was like, how in the hell is this film? Because it looked so real when you watched it, and it looked like he sunk like a giant ass ship in the water, and it's just incredible to watch. It's just an enthralling experience. And the one thing that people I don't get about people hating on Cameron is, whether you like it or not, he's one of the greatest filmmakers in terms of epic filmmaking. He is. If you watch any of his movies, they are all epic in scope. All of them. Avatar, Titanic, True Lies, Terminator 2, Terminator, even Aliens. That's a giant epic movie. Like, he knows how to do the art of epic filmmaking, and he's one of my favorites. I love Titanic. I love Avatar. Fucking sue me. But Titanic is a very good movie, and you know what's going to happen. The ship sinks. I almost said stinks. The ship stinks. You know what's going to happen, but you're still engrossed in it. And when it happens on screen, it's a really powerful scene, because you're like, wow, this actually happened in history. This is probably what people were going through. It's a very horrific thing. It's a very tragic thing, but it's a very quite a spectacle at the same time to see on the big screen. So yeah, Titanic's a good choice. My number 4 couldn't be from the opposite. More opposite than Titanic. So in Titanic, he's very optimistic and very joyful. And then my number 4, he is the biggest D-bag he ever plays in his entire career. And he sells it so well that it's enjoyable to watch. It's like watching this giant train wreck. And he's not a likable character. But fuck me, is it entertaining as hell. I'm going with The Wolf of Wall Street. So this is my entertaining performance in my number 4 slot. He's entertaining to watch. Like I said, Jordan Belfort is not a good dude. He's just not. He screwed a lot of people over in the 90s. But I think what Leo did is he captured it so well. And a lot of people, I actually know someone in Dallas. He doesn't watch the show, so I'll go ahead and call him out. I know someone in Dallas that does not like that film at all. And he makes a good point, because it's nothing. It's a movie about a terrible person, terrible people, and it's just about excess. I get that, but at the same time, I think Scorsese did it pretty well in telling this 3-hour-long kind of bloated story, which is necessary for this type of movie, because we see this epic rise and fall of a character, and Scorsese does bloat the movie a bit because it is about excess, so it makes sense to make the movie a little bit filled with excess and whatnot, and what the problem is with greed and whatnot. So, because if you watch the movie, like, he's a likable dude at the beginning. He's going to these jobs and he's getting advice from Matthew McConaughey and stuff, and you feel like he's going to be in this business to help people or whatever. And no, he gets wrapped up in the money and the greed, and he becomes a coke addict and a hooker addict and everything. And why he would cheat on Margot Robbie, I have no fucking clue. But no, is it a despicable character? Yes. And even at the very end of the movie, you can kind of see a little bit of redemption, which is the best part, because you're like, oh, wow, I went through this 3-hour disgusting journey with this character, but you can see the light at the end of the tunnel for him just a little bit, and you can see him bettering himself, even though he's still a really good con man. So he's putting his powers to good use rather than bad. That's the way I saw it. But yeah, Wolf of Wall Street's one of my favorite Leo performances, hands down. That is my number 4, entertaining. So the next one's going to be a good performance. So I'm not saying none of these are good performances, but like a great performance versus like an entertaining performance. So, Brian, would you like to discuss Wolf of Wall Street, or would you like to move on?
Pass.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, he's got the Wolf on his list. All right. So, I'm probably going to assume it's his next one. Brian, what's your number 3?
Well, my number 3 is a Scorsese film, but it's not The Wolf of Wall Street. It's The Aviator.
Oh, shit. You put it on there.
Oh, I love The Aviator. It's fantastic. Now, this is a very long film, too. Like you said, Wolf of Wall Street's 3 hours long. This movie's 2 hours and 50 minutes. But DiCaprio's Howard Hughes. Now, I will say this. When I first watched this film, I was a little annoyed with his accent. He's like, like he's talking like that. He's like, I want to take milk, please, with this and that. And like, his voice was so, like, high-pitched. It was kind of annoying at first. It sounded like a high-pitched, like, Brooklyn accent. But, I mean, whatevs. But man, talk about a performance that just was great. He won the Golden Globe for this film, the Golden Globe Dramatic Actor Award. He lost the Oscar to his Django Unchained co-star Jamie Foxx, which was it's pretty funny how they were nominated the same year than they started in the movie. I think that's pretty funny. But I love biopics in general, and this biopic is so engaging. And I love period pieces, and when this takes place in like the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, him going to all these premieres, him flying all these planes. Like when he's in the planes, I feel like I'm in those planes. That's the thing with Scorsese. Like he puts you into these scenes, and then he interacts with Katharine Hepburn, who's played brilliantly by Cate Blanchett, who won the Oscar for this film. You got beautiful cinematography. The writing is very good. It's written by John Logan, who's written a few Scorsese films. I think he wrote Hugo. I think this is the last PG-13 Scorsese film that he directed, because all of his other films were rated R, obviously, except for Hugo, which was PG. But the scene that really gets me the most, well, there's two scenes. The first is the plane crash sequence. I mean, that scene is so haunting. Like he crashes and then he starts to burn. It's intense. Like it's creepy. He's like, I'm the aviator. Like it creeps me out. Like that scene actually, like I jumped out of my seat when I saw that scene. And then of course the scene where he's in his like projection room, and he's got all the bottles of milk with piss in them. And then he's like, come in with the milk, come in with the milk, come in with the milk, come in with the milk. This is probably easily one of my top like 5 DiCaprio performances. Like this is a great performance. I think this was one of the performances that showed, oh yeah, DiCaprio is now no longer that beautiful pretty boy. He's a man. He's a man, and he still is a pretty boy. But yeah, The Aviator is fantastic. I think it's also one of Scorsese's most underrated films. Not a lot of people talk about this film, even though it got a lot of award nominations. So yeah, The Aviator is my number 3.
I would actually contend that his 2 most underrated movies in his whole career are The King of Comedy and what's the diner one? Oh man,
I don't know.
It's something like Overtime or something. Those two are underrated because I never even heard of the one I'm trying to think of, and it was really good and stuff. But Brian, I have something to confess.
You haven't seen it.
I haven't seen The Aviator, but I've seen.
God damn it!
I've seen clips.
That's not good enough. I spoiled you the big plane crash. I'm so upset.
That's one of the clips I saw.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, that was one of the clips I saw is when he was doing that crash sequence. Yeah, no, I will see The Aviator eventually, but yeah, just never got around to it. But since I know what your number 1 is, I already know what your number 2 is, so that's an interesting list. All right, so my number 3. I got to go with a great performance. A performance that really stuck with me and could really see the dedication ooze out on screen. My number 3 pick is no other than the movie that we're honoring. It's The Revenant, folks. I loved his performance. I love the movie. It's brutal. It's visceral. It's like this really weird sadistic dream that you just can't wake up from. Leo is super dedicated. You can tell that he grew out his beard. He is in the wilderness. He's doing this. And you feel the compassion. You feel the rage. You feel the anger. You feel the despair. You feel the defeat. You feel everything in this character because it's a simple revenge story. But everything he goes through and the journey that he goes through is so harrowing and it's so cold. And you feel like you're on this journey you feel like you're in the wilderness. It's gritty, it's intense, it's brutal, it's everything you can imagine. It is a haunting American Beauty. That's a good way to put it. It's just terrifying that violence was depicted like this and how brutal it was back in the day. But I'm glad Inarritu really just kind of shoved a movie in our face and forced us to watch it. I love those type of movies where like they force you to watch this, like, like I said, visceral nature that was back in the day and stuff. And he delivers a great performance, and it's the only performance in his entire career to where he doesn't have that much dialogue. He doesn't. It's all facial expressions. It's all just seeing it on his face and how he feels and stuff. And I felt that for him I'm not going to say what happens in the movie because this is a fairly new movie, but like, it's a revenge story. He's going after someone. The Revenant literally means, back from the dead. And that's what he does. He comes back and he's like, oh, fuck this. And he goes after, Tom Hardy for something he did. So yeah, The Revenant, it's beautiful. It's haunting. It's fucking awesome. So that is my number 3 favorite Leonardo DiCaprio film of all time. And that is a great performance. So my number 2 is an entertaining, fun performance. So what will it be? Well, I'm going to let Brian discuss why he likes The Wolf of Wall Street as his number 2.
All right, Wolf of Wall Street was my favorite film in 2013. Oh man, dude, I could tell you the wild experience I had with this movie. So when I went to go see this movie, I saw it on the day after Christmas with my father.
That's nice.
And it was packed. I was probably I was 15 when this came out. I was probably like the youngest person there. I would have to think that. A cat fight broke out after the movie, so that was interesting.
That's cute.
That was fun. And it was right outside the second Hobbit movie, so that was a little weird. Someone probably whined that I don't know, Bilbo didn't shave his hair or something. I don't know. But Wolf of Wall Street, it's one of the biggest roller coasters I've ever been on. I almost said this ride. This felt like a roller coaster ride that just wouldn't stop, and it felt great. It was a drug trip. It was a mind trip. This movie was made by Scorsese when he was 70, and at 70, you could see that this guy could still make movies better than some of the people that are like age 20. He made a movie that honestly could have been. It felt like a movie that was made by a 20-year-old. Like, that's the thing. This guy's really old, and it felt like a movie that was made by someone really young, and he did a great job. Leonardo DiCaprio really was incredible here. He won the Golden Globe for this. Comedic actor. This movie showed that he has like straight up comedic chops in movies. I don't know why he doesn't do more comedy. Listen, I'm fine with an actor doing a lot of drama, but do more comedy every once in a while. I'm sure he would only do a comedy if Scorsese directed it. Yes, Django Unchained is a black comedy, but that's not a straight up comedy like The Wolf of Wall Street is. And I mean, he's lucky because he got to have sex with the beautiful Margot Robbie, and so is Will Smith and everyone else that's ever been with Margot Robbie. But no, it's just an energetic movie, and I love, and you didn't really bring this up, his chemistry with Jonah Hill. Yeah. Who would have ever thought that he would have worked so well with that comedic genius known as Jonah Hill?
You know what's really,
did a great job.
You know what's really funny? I'm sorry to cut you off, but like I actually, because Jonah Hill was nominated twice within 2 years, and I actually like his chemistry with Leo more in Wolf of Wall Street than his chemistry with Brad Pitt in Moneyball. The two movies.
Same.
So
same.
Sorry about that.
And also, no, it's fine. And then you bring in McConaughey. I don't want to go. I think I just kicked a baby or something. I don't know.
Yes, he kicked a small child. Anyways.
This movie made my mind go crazy like it just did right now. Wolf of Wall Street is fantastic. I can't say enough. It was my favorite film in 2013. Love it. Great film. It's not for everybody. Okay, it's not for everybody. There are a lot of people out there who don't like the movie for its content.
Oh yeah, but for sure. Like it's a really fast.
If you just review it on himself, everybody praises him. Everyone thinks this is one of his best performances. There are some people out there who say this might be the best. I'll say this right now about The Revenant. I can understand where someone might go by saying that this is the best performance he's ever given. To me, this is the best performance he's ever given. This movie, because it was something different for him. Like, we've seen him do dramas before. So The Revenant was not really different, except, like you said, he didn't talk much in the movie. He was very quiet. He was very, toned down. And then by the end of the movie, he was very visceral and strong. In this movie, he just plays a bastard, and which he's played before. But this character, Jordan Belfort, it's speechless. Like, when I left the movie, I was speechless. I just didn't know how I felt. Then I saw it again 2 more times in the theater. It was my favorite film of 2015. I love The Wolf of Wall Street so much. I do. I understand if someone says, "Oh, I felt the pace fit." I didn't feel the pace. I was so into the movie. Wolf of Wall Street, my number two.
It's one of the fastest 3 hour movies ever made in history. Like, seriously, you watch that movie, it's like what Brian said. Scorsese filmed The Wolf of Wall Street with the energy of a 20-year-old. It is outstanding. I would love to work with Scorsese and just see how he works because he's so, in every movie he does, whether it be a Departed or Wolf of Wall Street, Shutter Island, Gangs of New York, what have you, the guy's energetic as hell, and it's outstanding. So yeah, for your number two, you went with a very fun, entertaining performance. And for my number two, I went for a fun, entertaining performance. And it is my favorite entertaining performance he has ever done. I don't think he's ever going to top this. I'm telling you this right now. It's Django Unchained, motherfuckers. I love Calvin Candy. You want to talk about a performance that stole the movie? It was Samuel L. Jackson and Leonardo DiCaprio. Jamie Foxx is the lead? No. That flies out the window once you're introduced to Calvin Candy and his slave Steven. It's so great. It's so wonderful, and he's so disgusting. He's another disgusting human being, and he's a flat-out villain in this one. I mean, he was a villain in Wolf of Wall Street, but it's played up for more comedic aspects. Django Unchained, like, he is a vicious motherfucker. Like, he's selling slaves left and right. He's making them fight in living rooms. Like, he is a disgusting asshole. And everyone knows the infamous scene, the dinner scene, where he slams his hand on the glass and he rubs his blood all over Kerry Washington's face. It's a great scene, but he's just so much fun to watch. And it's really funny because, like, Christoph Waltz was the most entertaining part of Inglourious Bastards, but then Django, it's switched, and Christoph Waltz takes the back seat, and Leo is the shining spot and the most entertaining. So it's just a sweeping, entertaining grindhouse epic of slavery proportions. It's just bonkers. It's a lot of fun. I love it. That will be his most entertaining performance he's ever given. Unless he can top that, I don't think he can. But when I get to my number one, that's my favorite performance. But for number two, it's my favorite entertaining performance he's ever done. So Django Unchained is my second favorite Leonardo DiCaprio film of all time, and he's just a supporting character. So down to our number ones. I already know what Brian's is. Brian, you pretty much have a clue on which mine is, right?
I'm starting to get an idea of what it is.
Yeah. So I'll let you think about it, but I'll let you go first. So Brian, what is your favorite Leo movie of all time?
My number one is Catch Me If You Can. I talk about this movie so many times. I feel like I've said everything, but just to talk about Leo himself, he's incredible here. Still has the pretty boy face here. He's so beautiful. But when you work with Steven Spielberg, and the funny thing is, this movie came out 4 days after Gates in New York, Scorsese, his first collaboration with Scorsese, movie that did not, I like it, but I don't love it that much. But Catch Me If You Can is great. I like Gates in New York, but I don't love it. I think it's my least favorite film that they've done together.
Well, and you got to keep in mind, it's not Leo's movie. It's Daniel Day-Lewis.
No, it's not. But I mean, also he had facial hair in that movie too, and the weird accent. So whatever.
Daniel Day-Lewis is the star of that movie. Let's get that straight.
Yeah, it's absolutely his movie. But Catch Me If You Can, him going back and forth with the great Tom Hanks is brilliant. This is I work at a library. I was shelving books the other day. The book that this movie's based on, I had to shelve, and I specifically told a few of my coworkers, this is my second favorite film ever made. I just came to realize that it's my second favorite film, right behind Goodfellas. Like, I have seen this movie so many times. I love it so much. It's easily one of DiCaprio's most underrated films. I don't think a lot of people give him credit for his performance. Same goes for Tom Hanks. And Spielberg. It's a different film for Spielberg, considering it came out the same year as Minority Report, which is a very good film. And yeah, I mean, him playing a con man, the guy who impersonates a pilot, a doctor, and a lawyer. It's just an engaging movie. And this movie is very long. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. And the movie flies by like that. Like, I felt like I was watching a movie for a half hour. I can watch this movie anytime I want. And I really adore Catch Me If You Can. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. We brought it up on the Tom Hanks episode, Spielberg episode, and now Leonardo DiCaprio. Because this is, without doubt, my favorite film of his. And it is, I think, the best film that he's ever done. So that's why Catch Me If You Can is my number one.
That's a good pick. And I know this kills Brian's soul every single time I tell him, but I didn't see Catch Me If You Can for the first time until I want to say a year and a half ago. And I watched it and I was blown away. I bought it. There was this guy I went to high school with, and he was selling like a bunch of DVDs for like $5 a piece or whatever. And I bought like a stack of 15 of them. And some of them I'd never seen before. And Catch Me If You Can was one of them. And I was like, oh, yeah, I remember people talking about that. I haven't seen it. So I'm going just blind by it because I hear good things. And I watched it one late night when I couldn't fall asleep. And I loved it. It was great. I went to work very tired the next morning because I stayed up and watched it until like 4 in the morning. And it was totally worth it. Brian, your answer is cute. It's adorable.
Oh, boy.
But
oh, wait.
Let's
Don't tell me what genre it is.
I'm not going to say the genre. Let's talk about the real performance of Leonardo DiCaprio's career. Now, his first movie was Critters 3. And he did a few movies after that. But this was early on. And I've said this once and I'll say it again. When you are an actor or an actress, your job is to make us believe you are that character. The more you can make us believe, the better it is for us to sink into your character and really grasp onto what your character is doing. I saw this movie for the first time on Netflix because I was a big fan of Johnny Depp. Now, when I watched it, I had no idea Leonardo DiCaprio was in it. I watched it because Johnny Depp was in it. And I was blown away by What's Eating Gilbert Grape and the fact that Leonardo DiCaprio, when he was like a teenager, upstaged Johnny Depp. This is the best performance he has ever done, and he was a teenager. Let's wrap your head around that. He plays a mentally challenged kid, and the whole time, I believed it. I believed that he was this mentally challenged little brother of Johnny Depp. Like, it was insane. There is so much humanity to that character. It's incredible. Like, watch him at the beginning versus the end, and you feel so sad for him because there's like, you know, a few scenes where he's breaking down crying because this dysfunctional family is just not working properly, and Johnny Depp's trying his damnedest to keep his family up and keep them up afloat and stuff and keep them positive. And it's just so heartbreaking. It really is. It's the most human role he's ever done. And I absolutely loved it. I believed everything that came out of his mouth. I believed that he was mentally challenged. And it was insane. Because if you watch that movie and you ask someone, is that person acting? They probably would tell you no. Like, that's how believable it was. It blew me away. And he should have won the Oscar for that. He should have. He should have gotten Best Supporting Actor, hands down. So yeah, that's my favorite performance. It always has, always will be. There's nothing that can top that. It's a very small, heartwarming performance, but it's so believable. That's the best acting I've ever seen from him. And I've liked everything he's done for the most part. So that's putting it way up there. So What's Eating Gilbert Grape is my favorite Leonardo DiCaprio performance he's ever done. Is it my favorite film he's ever done? No. But it's my favorite performance he's ever given. And Django Unchained is my favorite entertaining performance he's ever given. So with that being said, Brian, how do you respond? Oh, and by the way, Amanda, our good friend that watches this show, she will very much appreciate my answer because she likes that movie too. So there you go, Amanda. All right, so Brian, you seem like you're in shock. Did you think I was going?
I honestly forgot that you were ranking it by performances. So when you put Gilbert Grape up that high, Gilbert Grape is a great film. It's fantastic, and like you said, I think he was my age when he made that film, so he was really young. It's incredible to know that he was that young when he made this. And I remember seeing the film. I think I saw this like 3 years ago, maybe 4. So I've already seen like a few films of his that he's done, and I remember my dad was like, "Tell me, you want to see a really good Leonardo DiCaprio film? Watch What's Eating Gilbert Grape." And I'm like, "Who's in that with him?" And he's like, "Johnny Depp," and I'm like, "All right, cool." It's like really early, so that was before Johnny Depp did all the quirky, weird stuff and stuff. So I was like, okay, sure, I'll give it a shot. And I was so blown away by him playing this disabled kid. Arnie Grape was one hell of a great character, and you felt so bad for him. And then Johnny Depp, him going back, I really want them to do another film together so badly. And also, I loved how they were nominated together the same year when he was nominated, DiCaprio was nominated for Aviator, and Depp was nominated for Finding Neverland. And also, even though it probably won't happen this year, it would have been cool if they were nominated again this year. Like, Leo would be nominated for The Revenant, Johnny Depp would be nominated for Black Mass, but I don't think Johnny Depp's going to get nominated this year. But that's a different story. And Gilbert Grape's great. Honestly, for films, I don't know why, but I thought you were going to go with Shutter Island as your best. I don't know why. I guess because
I love Shutter Island.
You're a horror fan. I thought the psychological stuff, I thought that would be your number one. And also, I think this might be one of the like 5 best performances he's ever given. This is such a good performance for him.
It's really good because that's such a departure from what Scorsese does. And like I realized Scorsese did Cape Fear, right? He did Cape Fear.
Mm-hmm.
And that was more of like a psychological thriller, but Shutter
Island,
that
was a remake.
Yeah, but Shutter Island was more like a psychological horror. And I like here's and this is a perfect lead into honorable mentions because Shutter Island is one of them. But I was working at the theater at the time Shutter Island came out. I heard there was a big twist, and I was an usher, so I cleaned the theaters. I purposely stayed away from the Shutter Island screenings, so when people came out, they weren't just going to blurt out the twist or whatever. So I actually went away, and I would let everyone come out, and then I would go clean it and stuff. So until I saw it, I was actually surprised. I was like, oh wow, that's really creepy. So yeah, I really love Shutter Island. It's a really another underappreciated Martin Scorsese movie. Not a lot of people think that Scorsese did that, and yeah, that was 2010. He definitely did that. So yeah, another one that's honorable mention: Titanic. You
say you love Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can. I'm sorry, I blanked a little bit. Yeah, and those would probably be my only 3, I guess. I mean,
Inception.
Inception. I mean, yeah, Inception. I mean, I love Inception as a whole, but I think everyone does a great job. I don't think anyone outshines anyone, so I can't really say like, oh, that.
You're doing performances. That's right. I thought you were doing films.
I mean, like Inception's a really great film. But yeah, so yeah, that'd be enough for my honorable mentions. And so yeah, what are some of the ones that just barely escaped your list?
Shutter Island, The Departed, The Revenant, Gilbert Grape, Inception. Revolutionary Road is so good.
Oh yeah, I forgot I was in that.
So good. I mean, I'm just telling you. I mean, people, of course, will probably watch it just because it's him and Kate Winslet back together. But this is like if Jack and Rose got married 20 years after Titanic ended, and they're both fucked up, and they changed their names to Frank and April. And it was directed by Sam Mendes, who was married to Kate Winslet at the time. So when they made out, it was I'm sure it was a little awkward for Sam Mendes. He was like, "You bastard, get off my wife!" But yeah, that's really it. Those are my honorable mentions.
So I'll go ahead and let you lead off the dishonorable mentions because I really don't.
There's really none. There's only one, and that's Body of Lies. Not the greatest film, not terrible. It was directed by Ridley Scott. It wasn't that bad of a film. I will say that Russell Crowe was great in the film because he gained like a lot of weight for this movie. So I will say that was a decade performance. And Great Gatsby, I'll say that I don't care for this film as much. I love the book. I read the book before seeing this movie. Then I saw the movie. Then I read the book again in 11th grade. Let me ask you something. Did you read it in high school, or are you one of the only high schoolers that did not read this book?
No, we were forced to read that for sure.
I'm just asking because there are certain high schoolers that didn't even read this book. Everyone reads this book in high school. It's the truth.
Yeah.
I read it last year, my junior year. But, I mean, he did good as Gatsby, but the scene that just made me laugh was when he was in the hotel room and then he yelled at Joel Edgerton. He was like, "Shut up!" Like, I just found that I really found that. Listen, when Leo yells, I think it's like hilarious. I know it's not supposed to be funny, but when he yells, it's hilarious because he always like squints his eyes, and the eye squinting is obviously perfect. He doesn't do that in The Revenant at all. I hope in his next film he does the squinty eye. I love it whenever he squints his eyes. It's hilarious. But the worst is easily The Beach, started by Danny Boyle. It's Danny Boyle when he did only, I think I think he did this film and then Trainspotting. I think these were the only films that he did. What a letdown this was. I mean, DiCaprio screams so much in this movie. So bad. So bad. Listen, when he screams, I mean, it is what it is. Also, Romeo and Juliet. I do not like Romeo and Juliet. I know there are a lot of people out there who like the film. I don't like. I just never been a fan of Shakespeare films. Number one. Number two, I hate when they're in present day. If you're gonna make them in present day, do not use Shakespeare dialogue. But I mean, then it's not Shakespeare, so I can't blame them. But yeah, The Beach, so bad. It's terrible. And they almost were gonna work together on Steve Jobs because DiCaprio was in consideration to play Steve Jobs, but he had to film The Revenant, so he couldn't do that. But I mean, it turned out to be great because Michael Fassbender did a great job.
Yeah, out of all those dishonorable mentions, I've only seen The Beach. So I mean, and that was on TV and a long time ago. Yeah, so I really don't have any, like, because was The Beach forgettable? Sure, but like I can't really talk about it that much because I haven't seen it in a few years and some change. So, but yeah, that's a great list, and here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Here's me and Brian's list, and let's see, we have Django in common, and we have The Wolf of Wall Street. So we basically have his two most entertaining performances on our list. Interesting. So he put Wolf of Wall Street at number 2. I put Django at number 2. Huh. Yeah, but all these are really good, guys. So check these films out if you can. I think the only one that's on Netflix, if it's still on there, is Gilbert Grape. So if you're curious about that one, please check it out. Yeah, so usually at this point I would have Brian introduce our next episode, but
I decided I didn't want to tell you it. I wanted to surprise you on camera.
Oh,
so
no.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, no.
Okay, so the thing is with next week, there isn't really much coming out. It's just Ride On 2. We could have done Ice Cube, but nah.
Before you tell everyone what next week's is, we got to let you guys know we're stretching thin on topics. It's because we blew our load in 2015, and we already have all the major directors, actors, and stuff. And so if after next week we can't come up with a topic the following week, what we're going to have to do is just kind of play it by ear into where, like, when a big movie does come out and there's a specific actor or director or genre we haven't done yet, then we'll jump on it. But in terms of, like, doing it week to week, we're just giving you a fair warning that it might be a little sparse. We might do one, like, every 2 weeks or, like, whatever. So I'm just giving you a heads up. It's just because we've done a lot of people, Brian. Like, can you imagine that? We've already done, like 30 episodes.
Like, there are times when we honor people. Like, it's not just like we have to honor someone that's just in the movie coming out that week. We could also honor someone else too.
True, but I'm just saying that I'm just letting them know that don't be surprised if there's like a week break or something because we couldn't think of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
But anyways, Brian, what is next week?
So the thing is with next week is going to be very different from what we usually do. Instead of honoring the best, we're going to honor the worst because 13 Hours comes out next week, and that's a new film from Mr. Michael Bay. So we're going to do our top 5 worst Michael Bay films now. Will this film be terrible? I have no clue. Will this film suck? I don't know. I don't know. I wish I was able to know, but I don't. So, I mean, if we record this next Saturday, will I be seeing this before we record? If we record next Saturday, I have no clue. But we'll see what happens. So our top 5 worst Michael Bay films is next week.
What are the odds that we're going to have at least 3 Transformers movies on there?
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. Considering you're someone who hasn't finished the 4th one.
I might put the 4th one on there and just be like, I haven't finished it. That's how much it sucks. Yeah, no, I'm going to really have to think about this because I like most of Michael Bay's movies as guilty pleasures, but I think I have to take the guilty pleasure aspect out of it and go, is this really a bad movie? And if it is, I'll put it on the list. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. So top 5 worst Michael Bay films. What's going to be king? Well, obviously, we all know what it is, but, it'll be interesting to see which one, though. So with that being said, guys, thank you for watching or whatever. And, tell us what your favorite Leonardo DiCaprio performance is. Comment in the place for my face and let me know. And I'm curious to see what you guys put as your number 1 because he's done a lot of good ones. So give us your best answer, son. And Amanda, if you're watching this, it better be a good list. And Gilbert Grape better be number 1. I'm going to be very disappointed because what we talked about then that means you lied to me. And I'm just going to go cry in the corner of my room. That corner over there, I will go crying. So, yeah, so thanks for listening, guys. Brian, where can the people find you online?
Twitter at BrianStud98 and on YouTube at Brian Sudfield.
All right. So if you guys want to follow me, all that jazz, if you want to follow my creepy YouTube channel or whatever, it's totally up to you. All the links will be in the description below. And my intro music is done by my friend's band, Fervent Roze. Check them out in the link in the description below as well. So we'll see you guys next week for the top 5 worst Michael Bay films. I'm Chase Lee.
I'm Brian Sudfield.
That's fucking right. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good weekend. Go see The Revenant. Even if it's not and you're going to be in your top 10, you need to see it. It is fucking awesome. Peace out, everyone. Let's play the outro music. One of my favorite lines is when Leo looks at the camera and he's like, absolutely fucking not. Oh, it's so great. We'll see you guys later.